Today video topic: if God exists, why does he allow evil, pain, confusion, and imperfection? A deep exploration. When we look at the world, we see storms, we see suffering, we see hatred, we see people hurting one another, hurting themselves, creating destruction, chaos, and pain. And naturally, a question rises inside the mind of every thinking human being. If there is a God, why doesn't he stop it? If he truly sees everything, if he knows everything, if he loves his creation, then why does he allow this world to be filled with sin, imperfection, violence, tragedy, and confusion? This is SoulSight, a channel where faith, wisdom, and reflection meet. Together, we dive deeper into the truth behind life. So let's begin our exploration of today's topic. This question is not new. Humanity has asked it for thousands of years. Every philosopher, every believer, every doubter, every wandering soul has looked at the same world and wondered the same thing. Today, through SoulSight, we will dive deeply into this mystery, not to preach, but to understand. Not to give shallow answers, but to explore the profound relationship between human freedom, divine purpose, and the world we live in. Let us begin with the idea that God sees everything. If the divine is all-knowing, then nothing escapes his sight, not the smallest act of kindness, and not the darkest acts of cruelty. Knowing this, we wonder why sin is not stopped in its tracks. Why isn't evil shut down before it grows? Why do people get away with wrongdoing? If God sees it happening, why does he let it continue? To understand this, we must first reflect on what it means to be human. We're not robots. We're not puppets. We are beings with a mind, a conscience, an ability to choose. Choice is the core of our identity. Without choice, we are nothing. If God were to block every sin, he would also block the freedom to choose. And when there is no freedom, there is no meaning. A forced good deed has no value. A heart that is forced to love is not truly loving. A mind forced to be pure is not pure at all. The beauty of good lies in the fact that it's a choice, not a command. Every moral decision becomes meaningful only because the opposite option exists. Courage is meaningful only because fear exists. Compassion is meaningful only because cruelty is possible. Faith is meaningful only because doubt exists. If God removed the possibility of wrong choices, he would also erase the possibility of right choices. A world with no sin is also a world with no virtue. A world with no darkness is a world where light has no meaning. Now let's move deeper into the question of human imperfection. If God created the human body, why did he design it with flaws? Why sickness, weakness, aging, death, and vulnerability? Why create a being that feels pain so easily, breaks so easily, fears so easily? At first glance, a perfect, indestructible body sounds ideal. But think about what that world would feel like. If the body were perfect, humans would learn nothing from suffering. They would not appreciate health because they would never lose it. They would not value time because they would never age. They would not fear consequences because they could not be harmed. They would not experience humility because they would never fall. Imperfection is not a design error. It is the way life teaches us. Every weakness of the body reveals something about the soul. Pain brings awareness. Loss brings gratitude. Limitations bring reflection. Mortality brings meaning. Without imperfection, there is no urgency to grow, no drive to seek purpose, no reason to search for anything beyond ourselves. The body is temporary by design because the lessons it gives are permanent. Now, Let us step into one of the most sensitive questions in the spiritual world. If God is true, why do opposing beliefs exist? Why is the world divided into so many religions, philosophies, schools of thought, and ideologies? If God is one reality, why do humans hold so many conflicting opinions about Him? To answer this, imagine truth as a mountain. You are standing at the base, looking up at its peak. I am standing on the opposite side, looking up from another angle. A third person is looking from the east, another from the west. We are all looking at the same mountain, yet our descriptions will be completely different. Our angle changes our experience. In the same way, God, or the ultimate truth, is not limited to a single human perspective. Cultures shape belief. History shapes belief. Trauma shapes belief. Upbringing shapes belief. Intellect shapes belief. Even personality shapes belief. Opposing beliefs don't mean God does not exist. They simply show that human beings see truth through different windows. The windows are different, but the light coming through them is the same. Humanity is not divided because God is unclear. Humanity is divided because the human mind interprets, filters, and reshapes truth through its own limitations. Now let us explore why wrong paths exist. If God is a guide, why does He allow people to walk into mistakes, bad decisions, dangerous choices, harmful lifestyles, and destructive roads? The simplest answer is that guidance does not mean control. A compass points north, but it will not force you to walk in that direction. A map shows the path, but it does not drag you onto it. God gives guidance in many forms: conscience, intuition, inner wisdom, spiritual teachings, life experiences. But He never forces a soul to follow them. If wrong paths did not exist, we would never grow through exploration. We would never develop wisdom through experience. We would never learn resilience, responsibility, or discernment. Many people discover the right path only after walking through the wrong one. Sometimes the wrong path is not a punishment. It is a necessary teacher. Humans learn deeply through contrast. We understand light only after darkness. We appreciate peace only after chaos. We recognize wisdom only after foolishness. Wrong choices shape maturity in a way that constant perfection never can. Next, let us reflect on one of the hardest questions. If God controls everything, why doesn't He stop accidents? Why do tragedies happen? Why do innocent people suffer? Why do sudden events shake lives without warning? To understand this, imagine removing all consequences from life. Imagine a world where nothing could ever go wrong. No accidents, no mistakes, no dangers, no risks. Life would feel safe, yes, but strangely empty. Without the possibility of harm, bravery disappears. Without risk, responsibility disappears. Without consequences, learning disappears. The physical world is built on natural laws: gravity, motion, weather, biology, time. These laws create order and consistency. If God constantly interfered with them, the universe would collapse into unpredictability. Miracles are exceptions, not the structure. Life is structured on cause and effect. Every accident has a natural cause, even if humans do not always understand it. More importantly, tragedies often awaken something powerful in the human spirit. They bring compassion. They bring communities together. They awaken generosity, empathy, awareness, humility, and reflection. Pain can destroy, but it can also transform. Now let us explore another profound question. If God is all-knowing, why is the world confused? Why do billions of people struggle with understanding life? understanding themselves, understanding purpose, and understanding God. Confusion is not a sign of divine failure. It is a stage of human evolution. A newborn child is confused about everything. Slowly, through experience, it learns. Humanity, spiritually speaking, is still young. Our confusion pushes us to seek answers. Our curiosity pushes us to explore the unknown. Our uncertainty pushes us to question everything until truth becomes clearer. If God removed all confusion instantly, He would also remove the joy of discovery, the growth of wisdom, the beauty of the search. A truth handed to you has less value than a truth earned by thought, struggle, and reflection. Finally, let us explore the question of hatred. If God is love, why does hatred exist in the world? Why do people spread anger, division, and conflict? Hatred is not created by God. It is created by human beings when they forget who they truly are. Hatred grows out of fear, fear of the unknown, fear of loss, fear of difference, fear of vulnerability. Hatred grows out of ignorance, when we do not understand each other. When ego becomes stronger than empathy, hatred finds a place to live. But remember this, for love to be meaningful, the possibility of hate must exist. You cannot prove your capacity for love if you have no choice but to love. Love becomes divine precisely because it is chosen against the possibility of darkness. Hatred spreads quickly because fear spreads quickly. But love, when chosen consciously, has far more power. Every act of kindness weakens hatred. Every act of understanding destroys misunderstanding. Every act of forgiveness breaks the chain of anger. God does not stop hatred because He wants humans to learn how to overcome it themselves, not through force, but through wisdom. And now everything comes to a single deep truth. Why does God allow sin, imperfection, confusion, suffering, accidents, hatred, and darkness? Because earth is not a place of perfection. It is a place of transformation. Souls do not come here to experience heaven. They come here to experience growth. A soul grows only when it faces challenges. A soul strengthens only when it overcomes. A soul expands only when it chooses light, while standing in darkness. God does not remove every obstacle, because obstacles shape character. God does not remove every question, because questions shape wisdom. God does not remove every storm, because storms shape strength. The truth is simple yet profound. God does not stop all darkness, because He wants you to discover your own light. This world is not a mistake. It is a mirror, a teacher, a journey, a sacred challenge designed to awaken the deepest parts of your being. If life were perfect, the soul would sleep forever. But because life is difficult, the soul learns to awaken. This is SoulSight, where we don't escape the questions of life. We explore them with depth, clarity, and heart. Thank you for joining this journey on SoulSight. If today's exploration brought you clarity or comfort, share it with someone who needs it. Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else. And if you feel connected to our message, subscribe and be part of this growing community. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and keep listening to your soul. Until next time, this is SoulSight signing off.